his distant, unknown neighbor? In answering this question, the House of Lords laid down, through the judgment of the renowned jurist Lord Atkin, legal principles of liability and responsibility, which have become the foundation of the common law of torts, and more specifically, the law relating to the negligence, the duty of care to others, the duty of care that we owe to others. In that way, the legal, if not the moral, religious dimensions of good neighborliness. The language which has remained memorable, in language which has remained memorable for all lawyers and students of the law, Lord Atkin pointed out that, quote, I can't read that one. Very well, that in English law, there must be, and there is, some general conception of relations giving rise to a duty of care, of which the particular cases found in the books are but instances. And he went on to say that acts or omissions which any moral code would censure cannot in a practical world be treated so as to give a right to every person injured by them to demand relief. But the rule that you have to love your neighbor becomes in law, you must not injure your neighbor. And the lawyer's question is, who is my neighbor? Receives a very restricted reply. And the rule is this: you must take reasonable care to avoid acts or omissions which you can reasonably foresee would be likely to injure your neighbor. Who then in law is my neighbor? He asks. The answer seems to be all persons who are so closely and directly affected by my act that I ought reasonably to have them in contemplation as being so affected when I'm directing my mind to the acts or omissions which are called in question. Hence, a legal duty of care and liability for any breach of it is owed to all our legal neighbors, i.e. those who can be reasonably considered as coming within the radius of our actions or omissions. A legal duty with liability, not a moral or religious responsibility. But still within the realm of the religious sphere, we must also respect all mankind. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has declared in Surah Bani Israel, indeed we have honored the children of Adam. This honor is equal to all the children of Adam, without any distinction as to gender, sex, race, tribe, or other distinction. The Almighty has honored us all mankind equally. Who are we then to dishonor what the Almighty has honored? This verse for all true believers should be another element in the foundation for our profound respect to others, to members of mankind, without any discrimination, and for building up solidarity within our community. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has also declared in Surah Rahman, quote, that he has set the earth for all the creatures, unquote, not just for mankind, but for all his creation, mankind, the wildlife, the flora and the fauna, and the jinn also. For all other creations, and all other creations, some of which we do not know. Mankind of different races, of different ethnic groups, of different religious groups, of different sects. Yet it is only this earth he has spread out for us, with all our differences. No other place of abode, no other place of earthly abode. The message from this verse is for us to learn to live together, despite our diversity, or with our diversity, to rise above our differences, to accommodate each other, and to respect each other, just as the Almighty has honored all of us, without regard to our differences. This is a divine call to solidarity of mankind, And we must heed the call if we are to live together harmoniously and peacefully. So wherever we turn, the international legal framework, our local constitutional framework, our culture, our religion, we are fortunate to have guidance towards strengthening national solidarity through love and respect for one another, towards good neighborliness, towards respect for our diversity and for our distinctions. And as we stand on the threshold of the golden jubilee of our independence, individually and collectively, to harness these values and the virtues and to promote greater national unity and national solidarity for the maintenance of peace and for the development of our nation. I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Lord Chief Justice of the Gambia, and that's the beauty. As I was taking intergenerational dialogue, you've seen it, this beautiful anecdotal reference to 1965's journey through the religious scriptures, continental legal framework, and the seminal work on Donohue and Stevenson. As a law students, indeed, we've all gone through that one, and it's quite interesting. The young people might enjoy what they call youthful exuberance, but the elderly citizens enjoy what they call in German Seniorenfreiheit. So the elderly liberty to always go beyond protocols, which is understandable, having senior citizens among us. You've made an important point, which is about our commonalities. Differences might be negative, but we have our peculiarities and commonalities to celebrate. And as Martin Luther King said, I cannot reach fulfillment without door. So it means that we need each other. Our diversity and our pluralism and our commonalities are sources of inspiration for us to rise higher. I would therefore like to acknowledge the pioneers of the initial forum in 2023 and 2024 who are with us today. Welcome, gentlemen. It is a family gathering. Good to have you here. Before proceeding, I would like to invite the Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly of the Republic of the Gambia, Fabakary Tombong Jatta, for reflections on the theme of our Diamond Jubilee. Welcome.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic, ably represented by the Honorable Minister for Public Service, Honorable Babukar Boy, my Lord, the Chief Justice, the Chairman of the Organizing Committee, Honorable Mort Sisi, who doubles as the Chief of Staff and Minister for Presidential Affairs, Honorable Cabinet Ministers here in present, Honorable Members of the National Assembly, Chief of Defense Staff, senior government officials here in present, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, leaders of political parties, distinguished panelists, representatives for the faith-based organizations, representatives from civil society, distinguished invited guests, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Gambians. Let me first and foremost wish all of us a happy Independence Anniversary in advance. This year marks the 60th anniversary of our founding as a republic. It is a moment of deep reflection and critical assessment of our achievements as a sovereign people and the challenges confronting us in the journey to building a country that not only guarantees the general well-being of all Gambians, but also fulfills our needs and aspirations. I will extend my gratitude to His Excellency President Adama Barrow for providing the leadership that is guided by conscience, wisdom, and the placement of the will of the Gambian people above everything else. His foresight and wisdom brought us here in the same hall precisely the same time last year for the first ever national dialogue to chart a sustainable way forward for the country. As I have stated then, this is leadership that's conscious of the responsibilities tied to it by the people and is determined to fulfill the wishes and aspirations of the citizens that engage in such a broad-based dialogue on issues of national concern. Today's forum, punctuating the second national dialogue, illuminates the commitment of government to ensuring that broad-based consultations on issues of national interest becomes a permanent feature of our governance architecture. Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the theme under consideration, marching in solidarity for self-reliance and national development, holds profound significance, especially considering that our country is reflecting on its 60-year journey into nationhood. As we therefore dialogue among ourselves on this crucial theme, let all Gambians be reminded that democracy requires the ability of our elected representatives to exercise decision-making power. Is subject to the rule of law, moderated by a constitution that emphasizes the protection of the rights and freedoms of individuals, and which places constraints on leaders on the extent to which the will of the majority can be exercised against the rights of the minorities. It cannot be debated that this country is fortunate to be governed by a dynamic and conscious political elite that commit themselves without reservations to the service of the people by not only embarking on infrastructural projects, but also engendering and consolidating cardinal democratic and political values. This reality explains why, on a constant basis, we see our public institutions acting within the framework of a genuine representative democracy. Much more, the three arms of government are operating on the basis of separation of powers with the necessary checks and balances mechanisms. Citizens are given a choice as they retain political sovereignty and are informed of the actions of the status quo through the legislature. As the state therefore continues to provide the enabling environment for citizens to serve as ultimate guidance of their own freedom and to forge their own path towards the recognition of the inherent dignity and the equal and inalienable rights of all members of humanity, we as citizens should continue to cement our utmost loyalty to the state. If democracy is to work, we must not only participate and exercise our rights, but must also observe certain principles and rules of democratic conduct. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, marching in solidarity for self-reliance and national development also requires that we appreciate that for development to be achieved by a country, the people have to be the driving force behind it. All development undertakings must involve the people, who ought to be seen in the initiation, implementation stages of the development projects. However, it is also worth mentioning that fulfillment of all these conditions do not in any way guarantee development in the absence of unity and harmony among the people. This is because no objective, however great the aspiration might be, is attainable on the basis of individualism. Several people have to strive together if even the simplest of things is to be achieved. Building a self-reliant country requires that as Gambians, we have to break the barrier that keeps us apart politically and ethnically, and to unite in the interest of the country's developmental goals. The advancement of every Gambian, regardless of affiliation in terms of politics, religion, or tribe, has to be our utmost priority. In this regard, all other development facilities will fall in place because everybody will continue to work in unity towards the progress of the society. This fast tracks the overall development process. On the other hand, when disunity is the order of the day, the resultant effect is total negligence and societal dysfunction, which often impedes development. It is therefore important for us to come together as one, as Gambians and Africans, in the pursuit of our collective objectives. Politics is a service of representation, and as such, we should not allow it to be a dividing tool among people. The best reputation a person can make as a politician is to meaningfully participate in the development process of the society they serve. Our technocrats and administrators and all other stakeholders should also realize that we have gone very far forward, very far towards the target of our national development aspirations. They should become more focused and submerge themselves in service to the country so that collectively we can guarantee the sustainability of what has been achieved and move the country forward. Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as we deliberate in this second national dialogue, I wish to reiterate that the National Assembly shall continue to uphold its mandate charged to it by the Constitution and other laws of the Gambia, and will remain committed to fulfilling its social contract with the Gambian people. We will continue to ensure that the laws we passed are geared towards boosting democracy, rule of law, transparency, peace, and stability, and to deliver social services to all Gambians without discrimination. In doing this, the National Assembly will also continue to hold the government accountable to the people of the Gambia through our oversight function to ensure that wishes and aspirations of every Gambian is attained. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I urge all of us to be committed to the dialogue with the ultimate objective to identify challenges and provide tangible and realistic solutions to the challenges we face as a country in building resilience for national development. I thank you all.
Thank you, Honorable Fabakary Tombong Jatta, Speaker of the National Assembly of the Gambia. And as the House of representing the people, it's really encouraging that you reminded us our responsibility as sovereign. The greatest resources of every nation are its people. You can have all the human resources, natural resources at hand, but you don't have the people with smart brains to take ownership and transform all those resources. You will still be moving in a circle. And as a people, we should know who we are. As René Descartes said, cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. As human beings, our senior citizens reminded of the honor given to a citizen, and that human beings, we have the mental capacity to lead our destinies. We've gone far as a nation. 60 years is double celebration. Our motherland or fatherland, or as the National Assembly National Anthem say, homeland, is 60 years, and that's an achievement. From where we are coming, we are called an improbable nation. The lecturers of histories know that about. We've proven that. We've, again, Ndekete, we've doubted them. the methodic doubt that René Descartes said, we've obliterated it as a nation by showing certainty that we can build, we can work together. Having the three arms of government here and all represented here, and also listening to the citizens, coming up with national dialogue, and also having measurable impacts, as Dr. Barry reflected, meaning that we are moving. We should be appreciative of what we've gone for as a nation, and that will help us. And it is important that all accomplished speakers bring that to our attention. And I'm sure that our panelists today will also do justice to the team by coming up with impressive ideas of carrying the nation forward. And as I hinted, it's double celebration for us. Our principal, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Gambia, is 60. Happy birthday. Our motherland is 60. So we have to start. So if we are measuring the achievements of our country, we already have a human being as a representative of the Gambia. Gambia cannot speak as a person, but we are the representative of our homeland. We can look at the biography of our principal to look at how far we've come as a nation. On that note, I would like to invite the Honorable Babukar Boy, Minister of Public Service, to deliver the opening statement on behalf of His Excellency President Adama Barrow.
Thank you very much. I am happy to be delegated by His Excellency the President to read his statement and represent him in this important dialogue forum. And the statement goes as follows. Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, my Lord the Chief Justice, honorable members of Cabinet and the National Assembly, honorable Chief of Staff and Minister for the Presidency, Lord Mayors of Banjul and Kanifing Municipality, regional governors, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, representatives of international organizations and development partners, political party leaders and representatives of other political parties, government officials and service chiefs, community and religious leaders, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I cordially welcome you all to the second National Dialogue Forum, organized as part of the Diamond Jubilee Anniversary celebration of the Gambia's attainment of political independence in 1965. Your presence signals your commitment to the welfare of the nation and your belief in dialogue. In view of all that is in stake for us in the country, our attendance is nothing less than a patriotic duty. The 2024 forum triggered lively discussions, but the theme for this year, which is marching in solidarity for self-reliance and national development, is not only excitingly relevant, but also positions us to look forward more constructively to the next 40 years, when the country will celebrate its centenary anniversary. These thoughts should motivate us to begin the search for answers on what we must do urgently in the coming 4 decades to really make the Gambia a dreamland for all Gambians. The answers seem to lie in the theme. We must march together, that is, in solidarity, use our human and material resources to develop the country speedily. From a socio-political perspective, marching figuratively means working collectively, and it has both horizontal and vertical dimensions. It can come about through our structures at various levels, formal and informal. In other words, we must work collectively through our governance structures, institutions, communities, families, social groupings, and through every individual. This means that, first and foremost, we must submit to the Constitution and laws of the land. Also, we must be guided by a common vision, work towards the same destiny, be aware of the barriers to peace, security, stability, and progress to break them down and be protective of one another. As marching physically implies movement or moving forward, so does it imply progress. In our political situation, it means preventing stagnation, regression, backwardness, and retardation. The lesson for Gambians is that we cannot afford a repetition of the bitter experience of the past. If we are to march in solidarity, we must cooperate as a nation, a people, a community, and as units of the existing legitimate structures. In whatever we do, it should be with the bigger or national picture in view. To succeed in this endeavor, we must plan together, execute our plans together, and protect the results of our labor. In fostering national solidarity, it is worth remembering that unity begins in the heart. It is nurtured and fueled by the mind and executed as a national project. The general view must take precedence over any particular issue or individual, with the awareness that it is the sum of the individuals and the particular issues that constitute the whole. With this in mind, we must prioritize the people's interests, aspirations, concerns, and welfare in all spheres of development: educational, health-related, social, political, economic, or otherwise. These are the types of attitudes, values, principles, and basic elements that generate self-reliance. I hold the view that self-reliance is not simply about taking decisions. It connotes looking inward as a nation, planning, prioritizing, and taking appropriate actions based on our resources, potential, and abilities. To be self-reliant, we have to take our destiny into our own hands, respect our sovereignty, and strive for self-sufficiency in our major areas of need. In addition, we must have the capacity, capability, freedom, and choice to make decisions and act on them with timeliness. The end result of this should hinge on constructive work, building and developing structures, and securing and sustaining life and livelihood. This cannot happen in the absence of belief, confidence, and trust in and among ourselves. We must therefore develop the capacity to think insightfully, critically, and creatively, to act boldly and decisively when need be, and maintain a high degree of resilience, especially in times of difficulty. The place that dialogue has in all this cannot be negotiated or compromised. Dialogue is a democratic principle and a communication value. It is a principle that embodies involvement, participation, consultation, and discussions. Dialogue reminds us that democracy is not about the interests of the majority, but about the majority working with or on behalf of the minority in the interests of both parties. Parliaments reflect this arrangement or principle. I believe in discussing our disagreements to agree, and not stubbornly or unreasonably disagreeing to agree. The Gambia is known for its rich cultural diversity. We have a common heritage, respectable values, national traditions, and a unique identity as Gambian Africans. Preserving all this is paramount in the country, and no one can outgrow them. These characteristics inform and govern social life, which is at the core of our political relevance. Through these commonalities, we can always sort out grievances and divergent views to move on. Relating these to our structural arrangements, the three arms of government exemplify how to work together and head towards the same destiny. In like manner, the government and its institutions and the private sector, as well as civil society, need to have a similar relationship. Like the elaborate structures at the lower end of our social network, families and communities have to cooperate, collaborate, hold consultations, and dialogue between and across themselves. Among them are the precious and vulnerable women, youth, and disadvantaged groups who deserve protection, support, and empowerment for our collective good. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an interdependent world, so we cannot isolate ourselves. Self-reliance is not about isolation. We must be aware, however, of current international political trends, particularly the rise of extreme nationalism, which should ring alarm bells around the world. The implication is that, as Gambian nationals, developing the Gambia can come about only through development initiatives, the task and onus of which rest on all of us. In discharging this responsibility, let us morally hold ourselves accountable to the people and be guided by the Gambian spirit of being dutiful and supportive. We live in distinct circumstances as Gambians with a unique national identity and should think this way. Collectively, we are custodians of the land today, and our actions and achievements, as well as failures, will go down in history for judgment sooner or later. Let us not fail ourselves or our successors. In remembering this, no perceived differences should divide us. Instead, they should strengthen us as a diverse people of varied backgrounds, skills, knowledge, fortitude, perspectives, and outlook. The differences that seemingly divide us are artificial. They are byproducts of ideologies, philosophies, approaches, ambitions, or worldviews, all of which we can moderate, harmonize, and accommodate on our programs. We are blessed with shared honorable values, such as hard work, honesty, spiritual orientation, religious tolerance, and love for family, community, and nation. If these cannot bond or unite us, nothing else can. The focus of our development is obvious. We have to secure our sovereignty, diversify the economy, utilize our resources wisely, and coexist as law-abiding citizens. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2016, under my leadership, we demonstrated that we could work together in the interest of the nation. Now, the National People's Party, under my leadership, has again demonstrated that different political parties can work together in the same government in the dual interest of our parties and the people to develop this nation. This shows that there are no differences, beliefs, ideologies, philosophies, world outlook, ethnicity, educational background, or any other type of characteristic or orientation that can stop us from working in solidarity for the nation. In this spirit, I invite all political parties and Gambians to join us for national development purposes. No individual or single party can stay in power forever. Working together, we can ensure a smooth transition of government from generation to generation, without any hostility, civil war, bloodshed, or military takeover. In truth, there is no issue we cannot discuss, no circumstance that prohibits us from dialoguing, and no legal reason stopping us from living peacefully in the country we all call home. We operate through national plans, policies, projects, programs, institutions, procedures, laws, and regulations. All these are big enough to accommodate all of us, and they belong to no one, just as the nation belongs to no one. All of them are man-made. They spring from thought processes and are ideas that are liable to scrutiny and refinement. This makes it possible for every citizen to contribute to such instruments. So the way our institutions work or how our programs unfold depends entirely on us. This is a forum to discuss such national matters. To examine them, all we require is to simplify the issues under discussion, find a middle ground, and agree on the best options. As head of state, I passionately want to work with all Gambians, be they at home or in the diaspora. In the same way, as a party leader and a citizen, I extend a hand of cooperation to everyone. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the organizing committee of this forum, coordinated by the Director of Press and Public Relations in my office, deserves commendation for the magnificence of the occasion. Like the theme, the sub-themes are very well thought through, and I hope the various groups will do justice to them. I advise that we make use of the reports generated from the discussions. Unless we do so, maximum benefit would not be derived from this grand dialogue forum. I thank you all for coming and pray that we have very fruitful discussions, which we should measure by the manner in which we relate to another, tolerate one another, and work with one another after dispersing from here. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Honorable Babakar Boy, for delivering that excellent speech on behalf of His Excellency President Amal Barrow, indeed reminding us of the need to revalidate our indigenous agency as citizens, as people of values, of people of peculiarities and commonalities. We have two more activities lined up before going on for a family photo outside. We'll have video on independence by Bright Stars Entertainment Group, to be followed by live performance from Buddy Bunka, one of the artists in town. Volume?
1965, baby, moving back. February 18, a day for a good soul. Democracy in has its story to be told.
Okay.
Baby, moving Denmark. 1965, baby, moving back. February 18, a day for a good soul. Democracy in has its story to be told. To Papa and Mom, colonial masters. Now we free and growing, shiny like asters. Independence, celebration, manage your land for the nation. Independence, no violence, peace and development. Lingway tayo muna din. Hindi kita on and ligi, this on Timmy, on and ligi. Posuaho ni Dibigi. Fuck me, you did. Fuck me, Ben, no.
That's beautiful. As lecturer of film studies, I'm very happy. Professionally made, well made. I like the visual, and then it's made, and then the framing. Thank you so much. We'll now move to live performance. It's in town, Badibunka, or it's going to be playback. Badibunka and team. They need this mic. Welcome.
Amuta following no control. Amuta DJ. Amuta ndi mole no control. Awali. Animbara Gambia. Ndafola family yako happy independence in advance. Na alfal bijanne na minister bijanne. Nyaba neki bala siring. Wali ngaminto momento ndafalale alnimbara ekomu dialogue lebe kiring national dialogue oto min kun mayata min dialogue kono min fudato suwol kono ngana dimbayal sinni ngafwe mina nafati karambungol kono mbedolu kono prisonol kono suwolu kono alfalu mini be jandim futata kandimol londi ni national dialogue la wala yatin ko nimman kamben kayroti nanu la Gambia woto fombe se kamben nga nyomuta ngake bakilim fakilim woti kayro ina walin woto wala nan kale ko alinga kamben yango binana barni man kamben yirwati nanu la alinga dumba dimbung fitino daifa kayra yang walin fitino daifa kayra yang walin molu fitino daifa kayra yang walin ngata DJ ngata it's called Mandinko oh dia sene Mandinko nyose na Mandinko volume ne Mandinko dia sene Mandinko nyose na Mandinko nku afunye Mandinko nku afunye Mandinko nku afunye Mandinko nku afunye Mandinko Gambiano volume I am a Gambiano, also a mandingo, also a body bungo, singing my camo, not demanding go all I know is a maseno, also a nakido, with my bamso, with my fucking we guru alifimo, Tio and the mano, Tubano and the Kinto, little from Mamun, 6 in your hand, Bam Diabso, Karat, Mokato, Susa, the Yomungo, Matos is for much more adura, Helmi Kundakente, Manding Kajawaru, Afunya Mandingo, Yasana Mandingo, Mandingo, Yasana Mandingo, Afunya Mandingo, Yasana Mandingo, Mandingo, Yasana Mandingo, Winter, Go, Afunya Mandingo, Go, Afunya Mandingo, Go, Afunya Mandingo, Go, Afunya Mandingo, Go, Momo Minti, Akatayorum. Akita siyo city munesulung alayendale andu mangi ayedele dolati indo kisulati indo kisirenti domu manjakiti wodomu balantati mimu binti inyante kalamulonna ni jininka isalong ibe min fola afonye mandinko tiesene mandinko nyosene mandinko afonye mandinko tiesene mandinko nyosene mandinko nko afonye mandinko nko afonye mandinko nko afonye mandinko nko afonye mandinko nko mbalakamo mandinka kamo mbalakamo mandinka kamo marinyolla kamo mandinka kamo minyolla kamo mandinka kamo mbalakamo mandinka kamo mbalakamo mandinka kamo marinyolla kamo mandinka kamo minyolla kamo mandinka kamo kinjaba kita mandinka foro lama kankara walle mandinka foro mandinka foro na tiriman mandinka foro mandinka foro mandinka foro mandinka foro onin jali ma biyati Aiwali Aparakasi, give me the last one. Musunin tenten do gelanyadi. Akindini tenten fano be gelanyadi. Aiwali give me futu. Mata. Aiwali, Honorable Speaker, Inimbara, Nafuwe Bankoto, Honorable Amadba, Neje, Inimbara, Nkayabaji Basen. Give me volume. Jelete mukaku, kang hakili tuito, konna wiri kaso, keden santo, karote santo, kiki bali sa teukoro, abida kanteko. Utanita watemo sukoro, unilio, akano kotunguna, amang imagine, akano lanno, mang hakili fuloso tuito, akano calculation, minus on imploso, times and division, equals to amplitude. Ala baraka jolle la ta jola na sama mo jolle tikisa jola na sama diata kanula kanula uwe bele wila kele kaka la bil utonne ne mankuya sakala ko se sonka ndan se obu ndan kuyobu mo fulo doron kili mbakili may gena wala seri my sweetie happy baby. Futuosio, Kifio, Musosio, Alpha Lenua, Futuosio, Kifio, Musosio, Alpha Lenua, Mundua, Minatebuela, Alpha Kumale Venta, Nube, Nania Killing, Mundua, Minatebuela, Alpha Kumale Venta, Nube, Nania Killing. Kanu mikirine muna yarafan kanu mikirine kamiya muna yarafan way kanu mikirine kamiya muna yarafan kanu mikirine aparakasi Aiwali ngala fa fo ngakanyang ala baraka.
Thank you so much, Madivunka. The beautiful reference to Mandinka is a reflection of our culture. We are all part of the Manding family of language. The Kurban Fuga or Mandinka that I refer to is a product of our dialogue. The legal framework for our constitutional law as a guarantor of peace and understanding. So at the end of the day, the Mandinka reflection, as he mentioned, all ethnic groups, as a name for our commonality, that we are all part of the Manding civilization, Manding heritage. And it's beautiful that, we integrated that one. We look back from the days of Kurgan Fuga to date and celebrate it here. Thank you all. It has been a very impressive morning session with elderly intervention and also intervention from representatives of the Office of the President, Minister Boy, Chief of Staff, Minister of Presidential Affairs, Cabinet Ministers, regional governors, members of the National Dialogue Committee, our accomplished panelists, members of the civil society, and all other media, technical crew. Thank you all for taking your time to attend this opening session of National Dialogue, second National Dialogue. Now we may march towards the entrance of the gallery for the family photo. After that, we'll come back and listen to the second to our panelists. We'll have the second, the first panelist will be here, and we'll continue discussions. So may we gather at the gallery or the entrance for the family photo. Thank you all, and thank you to our